Kakadosh Boker Tov, Shavua Tov. We're continuing with the halachot. We were on Siman Samad Gimel, and last time we were speaking about when exactly are you supposed to light the candles of Shabbat. So we brought down the earliest time from Plag Mincha, from Peleg Mincha, and we said for the latest time whether it's going to be minimum of 5 minutes before Shekiyah, because remember that you never have until Shekiyah in itself, because Tosefet Shabbat is Midoraita, that they learn from the actual Pesukim, right? And therefore, they learn it from Kippur and from other places as well, that therefore, if right now you have to accept upon yourself Shabbat a few minutes early, so therefore you can't go until the Shekiyah, because once you go to sunset, you're already after where Shabbat is already coming to place. Now what happens is that what is the difference between lighting by Plag Mincha or by lighting closer to the Shekiyah? So there's going to be a big difference that usually, even though according to Sfaradim, you're allowed to light candles, so a woman could light candles and not accept upon herself Shabbat, which means the candle lighting does not obligate the Shabbat. Unlike Ashkenazim, that the second that you come and you light the candles, you're already accepting upon yourself the Shabbat. Here, if you're doing it by Peleg Mincha, what happens is that since you're doing it so early, it's not recognizable that you're actually lighting the candles for Shabbat, because you're doing it so early. So therefore, when you're actually lighting the candles for Shabbat, you have to accept upon yourself Shabbat, right? And therefore, that's going to be very, very important. So he comes down, he says that the second that she lights the candles by Plag Mincha, she's not allowed to do any melacha, even if it's going to be a melacha d'Rabbanan. Now he says, what happens though if she does need to do a melacha afterwards? So the Halakha Brura brings down that technically she could have somebody else accept upon themselves Shabbat in her stead, right? But she cannot just come and start lighting the candles and then that's it. He says other people want to say that even the husband could accept upon himself Shabbat, and then she would still be able to come and do melachot for another 10-20 minutes afterwards without any problem, or any other family member. Again, you were getting into different machlokot, right? There is a shita that nowadays, he says, what happens if it's a custom to do it? Which means that many times different places, for example, I remember there are certain parts of Spain and France where the Shabbat anyway is very, very, very late during the summer, so everybody used to do Plag. Meaning if you would do late Shabbat, it means that you're taking in Shabbat at 9:30, 10 o'clock, right? Because that's what time is the Tzet Kochavim over there, is around 10 something. So imagine, so even if they would take it, so everyone would do Plag, and even by doing Plag, it was still Shabbat at around 7 or 8 o'clock, right? And that's Ki'ilu, that's the early Shabbat, right? At around 8 o'clock, which was Plag. So what happens is, he says, if it's a custom that everybody does such a thing, and therefore it's like the minhag, that they all accept upon themselves Shabbat early, so therefore she's allowed to light the candles, and she does not need to come and accept upon herself the Shabbat at the lighting candles at Plag Mincha, because since that's the minhag that everybody does it, at that time that they accept upon that they come and they start Shabbat early, so therefore it's already recognizable, even though she'll still have a few minutes afterwards. Now why do I say it's a few minutes afterwards? Remember that even if, for example, we do early Shabbat over here in the Beit HaKnesset, by doing early Shabbat, we still do not accept upon ourselves Shabbat at the early Shabbat. So let's say this past Shabbat we did 6:15. Next Shabbat we're going to do later, the Shira Shirim and Mincha. But we start, let's say, 6:15 Shira Shirim, 6:30 Mincha. Even after the Mincha, we still didn't accept upon ourselves Shabbat. Then afterwards I speak. And then afterwards I speak, you have the Lechunir Na. You don't accept upon yourself Shabbat, according to Sfaradim, until Mizmor Yom HaShabbat. According to the Ashkenazim, until Barechu. And according to the Arizal HaKadosh, it's a few seconds right before Mizmor Shlim Shabbat, Boi Kala, in the last stanza of Rai Boi Veshalom. So imagine what it is, even with all that time, you thought, when did you accept upon yourself Shabbat? 6:30. It's incorrect. By the time it came down to it, it was almost 7 o'clock when you accepted upon yourself Shabbat. That's even in the Beit HaKnesset when you're here. But by lighting candles, it's a little bit different, because it's when you're lighting the candle. But again, if it's going to be the lacha, that the minhag, right, you do have what to rely on, that if it's going to be the minhag in the entire place is that they accept upon some Shabbat early, so therefore she will be able to light the candles, even though she's not accepting Shabbat, and she would only accept Shabbat, obviously a few minutes later. Now what happens, the last halacha, what happens if a woman forgot and she lit candles before Plag? Meaning she went and she said, okay, once Plag Mincha, let's say it's 6:35, I think this coming Shabbat. So she comes and she says, you know what? I'm going to come and I'm going to light candles. Last week, I think I lit it at around 6:30. She comes 6:30, she lights the candles. So there's a machloket, does she say chumar or not? Some people say yes, some people say no. Since again there's a machloket, she has to light again. But to do with the beracha, since with the beracha there's a machloket whether she would say chuvar or not, she does not make another beracha to do with the lighting candles of Shabbat. A wonderful day.